people. Hello, Zach, and hello to you both, who I do not know yet.
Hi, it's nice to see you. That's Matthew and Devin.
Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too. Yes, we like your background.
I thought you might.
Yes.
So, does either of you have any questions? I've written down a number here. Maybe I can start a conversation by introducing a general topic, unless you've got any questions. Any questions?
I have a question. Hopefully this doesn't mess up any on your list. But my first question is, can you tell me what your purpose is for reaching out to us?
Yes, we love this question because we are here, I am here. I say we very often, so that is just meaning me and the energy that I am summoning right now. So forgive me if it is confusing, but I am here to enjoy your planet, to enjoy what you have going for you here, to be able to pick up a cup if I choose to, because where I mostly live is in a place that does not have physical form as you know it. So we do not have buildings, we do not have legs, we do not have bodies. And so we are here to experience the joy of something new and also to revel in meeting all of you. We just so adore all of you. We have so many new friends now, and we are here for pleasure, and we are here for joy, and we are here for expansion.
Wonderful. And I have a follow-up question. Many people on this planet believe and claim to have experienced other life forms from other planets visiting physically, actually arriving in ships. Is there any reality to that?
Yes, very much, because there are beings in many dimensions, in many places. And just because my dimension does not have physical form, it does not mean that there is not a range between where you live and where I live. And that is the case. So if you can imagine that most of the people on your planet are pulling some energy from different star systems, from different dimensions. It is making up part of their personality. Then it is not so far-fetched that these distant relatives would want to come and communicate with you. You have family and friends in many, many places that you are probably not conscious of, and they do come and they do visit. And it has not been the worldwide spectacle that some would like it to be yet, because it is very disruptive, mostly, when these beings are seen. So yes, it happens. It has happened to Rachel, and it was extremely frightening to her, even with all that she knows. This was when she was young, but it is very jarring to see a creature that does not look like you in your physical world. So that is why it does not happen more, though going forward it probably will increase.
Should we be concerned that maybe not everyone who visits is friendly?
Well, it is like your world having what you'd say good guys and bad guys, right? So we are aware that there are some beings who you would rather not run into, just like there are some people on the streets that you would rather not encounter if they have ill intentions. So we would say that the number of beings who do not have your best interest at heart, it is microscopic in comparison to the number of beings who shower unconditional love on you in every single moment and just want to know you and love you and see you and watch you. You are like a television program to them, that they are rooting for you. And so it is not something to worry about, because the worry will almost draw them to you, right? Because you are putting yourself in their realm by worrying. So we would just say, focus on what makes you feel good, focus on the creatures or beings that you wish to encounter, if there are any, and do not worry about those others. You do not worry daily about someone mugging you, perhaps, but when you are going to the store or going to get the mail. So it is the same thing.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm curious about something. Um, I've just begun to watch some of Rachel's videos and read about her experience. And you, who we're talking to right now, identify as a Pleiadian, of the Pleiadian energy.
Yes.
And there are other energies that also speak through Rachel. Is that a good way to put it?
She is many energies. That is
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Are all people multiple energies like that?
We would say, on the grand scheme, yes, that is true. Most people just aren't having that be their point of focus. So you are all source beings, and so you come from the same place, but you choose to have incarnations in places like the Pleiades, or on Earth, or Arcturus, or Orion. There are many. And so, because you are a huge non-physical being that has been many, many places and is a source being, you are all things. And there are times when you choose to have your focus be one or many. You can come here and just choose to be from Earth, but you can come here like Rachel and choose to be from many places and experience life through that filter. So in the grand scheme, everyone is from everywhere, and you do have the ability to choose how you want to configure your life and your personality with each place that you go.
The image I'm getting is kind of that we're maybe radios in a way, that we can
Yes,
tune into different channels
yes.
of energy. Is that? I mean, I'm sure it's probably a crude analogy, but that's the image I'm getting. If that,
It is a great image, because you create your world through that receiving and emanating, right, of that frequency. So yes, you are comprised of frequencies, and you get to create that mix. But what shows up in your physical reality, your dimension is created through vibration, just like mine. It is just that you have manifestations down to a denser level, which is why you have things. So your frequency creates all. So that is an excellent vision.
and one follow up, when you say Pleiadian, or those are, am I to interpret that as physical places in the universe with or is that more of an energy, like a metaphor for that particular energy?
Well, I guess we would say it is both, because the Pleiades is the location of where my energy usually is, and there is a society there for me. We have taken up residence on a non what do you call it? It is a gas ball. There is nothing to stand on. Luckily, we do not need to stand. So it is not physical in the way you would determine a planet worthy of life to live on being, but that is where we are. So yes, we'd say it is both.
Very interesting. And the societies, are they analogous to our societies in any way? Are there families, or were you born and you have a memory of being raised and like a human?
Yes, and it is different depending on the dimension and location, right? So Rachel's Zeta lineage does have a family unit, but for a long time, that society did not experience emotions. So families were more of a designation than a emotional bonding. So that family is different. Where I am, we do not have families, we do not have mates or partners, but there is much more of a fluid blending together at times. So it is almost as if we practice being a group based on our intention in the moment. So if you decide you want to go get a glass of water, you would walk down to get the glass of water. When we decide we want to merge with others, then that is what happens. And then we separate when we no longer have that. So it is different everywhere. But yes, there are many similarities no matter where you go, usually.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yes.
So I
Where
wonder
are you
if,
now?
oh,
Sorry, Zach.
oh, go ahead and answer that one.
Where are you right now? I mean, are you a frequency that's coming from the Pleiades, or are you here with that frequency?
We love this. We have never had this question asked before. So usually Rachel is comprised of many beings, and I am one of them. So I am always partially here. Let's just say I am one slice of pizza here. And usually I am the rest of the pizza there on my planet. Right now, there is one slice of pizza on my planet and the rest of the pizza here. So I am just changing my point of focus, just as you do. Well, it is not as well, yes, because I am non-physical, you cannot see me where I am on my planet right now, right? When you die, it is a similar thing. You are a non-physical being mostly, so you have just changed your point of focus from out of these eyes into your non-physical configuration.
So would you say that quantum entanglement has anything to do with it?
Yes, well, your science has caught up with a lot of the physics that makes all of this weird stuff happen, right? So yes, absolutely.
I have a question. When you're, say, partially in the Pleiades among the Pleiadian society, and you're like that one slice of pizza, are you missed there? Or is anyone
Oh,
where's, you're not all here. I don't feel like you're, fully here. You're off on Earth having Earth adventures. Or is that all worked out?
yes, that is all worked out. So here on your planet, as you have more density than mine, you also have more dense emotions than on mine. We do not have that feeling of missed. We only have that feeling of I would like. I would like. And if I am not there, no one is having that feeling of I would like to be with her. We are not any gender where I am. So that was a funny thing to say, but you know what I mean. There is perfect synchronicity where I am. And so I am incapable of being missed. We will put it like that.
Mm.
And what a joy. You are all very capable of experiencing these higher emotions, right? Just like where I am, it just so happens there are no alternatives. But here you live in both ranges. And so you know what a gift that would be if you were feeling the freedom to be and do and go wherever you please, regardless of maybe what roles or obligations you have previously signed up for.
And just to understand, was there always a Pleiadian part of Rachel from, from the beginning of her being on Earth as Rachel?
Yes, Rachel came about because, well, all beings on your planet are born because there was an intention for that being or beings to be born. So that is the first step. There was an intention for you to be here. And that is what initiated your coming into being. And so there were at the same time beings from several places who had the intention, I want to join together with others to have a life on this planet here. And that is what drew them together from these different places, different dimensions, different universes, realms. That is what drew them together to make the intention to create Rachel. So she has always been all of these things. Though we have to say the angels have switched up a bit. They do switch, and there are usually 3 to 5, and sometimes they are different beings.
The angels.
Yes.
So are you saying that everyone has a cadre of angels watching over them, or just?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Everyone who wants them. And we would say 90% of you do. So yes.
And how would you define angel?
What was that?
How would you define that word angel?
Well, if you can feel it as you say it, an angel is a marvelously powerful being that you often see with wings that is different from, it is not a creator being. They live in a different realm. It is like grass grows, but flowers also grow. They are different plants, and angels are different kinds of beings, and they are here to assist. They are here to learn. They are here to observe. They are largely academic, but they are also powerful facilitators as well. If you have ever heard chimes in your ears, like a harmonic chime, that is often what they leave behind when they visit you. Maybe now you will hear it.
So I am not personally a follower of any given creed. What is the resonance of religion in human experience? Well, I'll say, like, I don't follow a specific creed, but I do feel that existence is worthy of worship and humbleness before. What is the resonance of religion in human experience from your perspective?
Well, we see it as a very gentle thing. You are all very much more than you are taught, even inside religion, usually. I'm sure there are exceptions. Rachel is not familiar with everyone. But you feel inside of you, I am more. Why am I here? What is going on? You feel your power. You feel the possibility. You feel the presence of energy that is outside of you. And a lot of people turn to religion to have that answered. And religion was most likely created to be a gathering point for that discussion. And some of them have become distorted over time and used for different purposes, but we believe it was from a pure place that they were created.
Yeah, it would seem that it originated from the admission of the unknowable, whereas science is based entirely on measurement of the known, and it will not admit the unknown or the immeasurable. I wanted to ask this. You probably know this answer as well as Rachel does, but the haunted house in her girlhood, I wonder if the beings, the disembodied spirits in that house, what is their relation to the disembodied spirit of you, speaking through Rachel from the Pleiadians? I guess I'm asking, are there disembodied human spirits that linger? What's the difference between a ghost and an alien energy current?
Well, you are very perceptive in asking that question. And that is why we spoke earlier about using your own point of view and your own state of mind as a way to manage unwanted beings from coming into your existence. during that time, Rachel lived in a haunted house when she was in high school. And so the beings that she had encountered in her early childhood, which were all very nice and wonderful and positive, suddenly she was experiencing the negative side of things. And we will say that that coincides with depression and feeling out of sorts and things not going well in her life that she had previously relied on. So her filter at that time was very negative, and that is why she had perceived it in such a harsh way. Now, she also set that up before coming into this life. She knew that that was something that was going to occur, and she was okay with that. So it was a combination of pre-planning and also being in the place where she would perceive things most negatively. And many people plan on some harder things to occur, because it is like you are actors. Nothing bad can really happen to you in this environment. You are non-physical beings. You are eternal. No one can kill you and no one can harm you. And so when you are not here, when you are coming in, you decide on very energetic lives sometimes. So yes, people perceive beings through the filter in which they are at the time. And so even a wonderful being can sometimes appear to be frightful.
So you're saying it was the same kind of energy then, essentially?
Yes, there
just a
all
percentage.
kinds of energy, yes. Alien energy, human ghost energy, if you call it that, all kinds.
All right, so I was wondering, I mean, I guess you've answered it, but I was wondering if this was perhaps an early attempt to make contact, but apparently not. I keep running out of, I mean, I wrote all these questions down and they don't seem relevant anymore. I wonder about, I read a book a number of years ago that predicted fake alien invasion on the part of the American government. I wonder if you know anything about these physical historic predictions, or if it's entirely an energy resonance perception that you've got.
We are not sure. Fake alien.
Sorry, that's a muddled question. I'm not really even asking a question, am I? I'm just, let's see, can you tell us anything about human history that may be mysterious to mankind? Like, do you know anything about the pyramids or Atlantis that we can only guess at? Anything like that?
Well, we imagine you have quite figured it out, right? So, especially those of you here, you have always been visited. You have always had help. And in fact, humans are much more powerful than they think they are at this moment in history. There have been moments in your history when you have been much closer to harnessing your true potential. So, like Atlantis, for example, you were very much capable of combining your natural, non-physical source being skills with the technology of the earth, like crystals and all of these things. So you are right now rediscovering your power by, we will say this not in a mean way, but by throwing fits, right? There are frustrations on your planet, there are angers, and that is helping you move out of powerlessness. It is a natural course of action, right? There are, you are counselors. There is an arc to these things. There is an arc to personal, what do you call it? Personal exploration. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Personal hardship, personal.
There's a ladder that you have to climb to get to your power, and
Yes.
one of those rungs is anger.
Yes, which is much more helpful than feeling powerless. So you are all moving in the right direction, no matter what you are experiencing on your planet, whether you are outraged or somewhere else. So your society has gone up and down in the past, and you are going up, and I believe you can feel it. It looks messy right now, but you are leaving a lot of baggage behind you and moving into a much clearer place.
And
I have
you said that
Go
we're in
ahead,
a.
Dave.
Oh,
Devin,
go ahead.
go ahead.
I was thinking of what you said about how we exist at a certain density here on Earth, and that's a density that kind of exists all across our part of the universe, our universe on a certain level. Do all creatures at that density experience that kind of depths of emotion? There's that kind of turmoil, that kind of pathology. Is that unique to our density, or is that something that I guess I'm wondering if that's more of a universal thing, or is it just a density kind of thing?
Well, it is both. So anywhere where this density exists has the option of experiencing that amount of polarity in your emotions. Um, it is like you have such a wide range of things you can experience because you can go to the negative and you can go to the positive. So in where I am, you could say that it is the same amount of things. We are just this way on the scale. So your density can and is present in many, many, many places in the universes. And that is true for every place that exists. Just like your star system is set up and there's gravity here, there is different gravity in different places, but there is the same amount of gravity here in other places as well. It is the same.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I have a question that takes a little bit of a setup, I guess you'd say, a little bit of assumption, and that is with where humans are right now in their development. We seem to be a bunch of beings that need duality, or we beings of a duality. We can't seem to fully enjoy, hot or warmth without cool or cold. We can't seem to understand how soft something is until we've experienced hard. And we also are that way about difficulties in life. We don't really know the good times until we've had the bad times. But I feel like a phrase from you would be, there is nothing to fear. And, as a human, I think, how can I know not having fear unless I've had fear? What is what are your thoughts on this?
Yes. Well, it seems like that could be a negative to come into a place like this where you can, in an embodied way, experience harm and sadness and loss. And you might wonder, why would I come to this place if I can go to other places that are simply positive? But what you described is why you come here. You come here for that contrast, for that excitement. Why would anyone on your planet go see a scary movie or a violent movie? It is because deep down you know it is not true and you get to thrill out of it. Well, all of you deep down, even if it is just a sliver of you, you know that you are really okay. Nothing. Could you imagine how different your world would be if you were all actually truly terrified of dying? If you really, really thought that you could die and perish, you would not leave your homes. So you do know that you are okay, and that is why you let yourselves enjoy that duality as much as you do. That is why you have fights with your mates at times. That is why you love and hate your children in the most wonderful ways. That is why you are enjoying changing tastes and styles because you can. And that is why others come here to witness that as well, because we are not bored where we are. We are not missing anything. But when we come here and see the variety of your planet, it is a wonderful thing. So it is not, luckily, you are not here forever. You are a source being. You can go wherever you want. You do not have to come back if you do not want to. And so the largest part of you is absolutely enjoying every single moment of your life here, whether you are in your focus or not.
How do you see karma in Smith Alien?
Well, karma in the fact that what you do comes back to you is pretty real, because you create with your vibration. So what you send out as your vibration, you get back as your reality. So that is real, but it has been a little convoluted in that you think that it is generational and that there is more meaning or more vengeance to it, so that we do not resonate with that part of it.
Right, I agree. I know what you mean. Is reincarnation gender specific?
Nothing is gender specific. You get to choose if you want to gender or not wherever you go.
That makes much better sense.
We had never heard of that. That was new.
Well, it seems like people in America anyway get really hung up on whether they're a man or a woman, and all women are really emotional, all women are really into soft pink things, and all men, they love to play sports, and they're really into war and fighting, and it doesn't always work out that way. I mean, it doesn't often work out that way. And it would make sense that reincarnation would be based on what lessons the soul in question needed to learn, which would, of course, not be limited to a gender or a race or a country. I have another weird question about spirituality. It's easy for a relatively financially well-off white male, especially, to be comfortable believing that everything is fine and your mind makes your life and don't worry about it, you know. But if you're born into poverty and you're black and your whole life is your concept of life is based on getting out of poverty or getting a job or winning this moral contest against the oppressor, it would be much harder to embrace spirituality and this whole all permissive sort of spirituality, super expansive spirituality. And I wonder what your commentary on that would be. And I would postulate it would be a reincarnational thing. The soul needs to learn that lesson, needs to be in that oppressed position in order to learn some greater truth. But I wonder what your perspective is.
Yes. So first of all, from my point of view, reincarnation is your choice. So there is not a set of lessons that need to be learned, because you are a completely whole divine being. You are source. You are all that is. There is nothing that you need to learn.
He's going with the Edgar Casey motif. Continue, please. Pardon me.
Yes. So where you go and what you do and what kind of life you choose to have is completely up to you. And in that case, those who choose to come into more strugglesome circumstances, which is most of your country and most of your world, right? Those of us here have come into a place that has a lot more comfort involved. And so the people who choose to come into harder, as you would say, lives have done so for the thrill of it, right? Why would anyone choose a challenging thing to do? Because it is very gratifying as well. Now, not everyone. Hmm?
Have they also chosen the resistance to spirituality because it's often presented as an escape or a prize that people, if they would only accept this, good news, they'd be free of all their troubles? Have they also chosen to be so resistant, so like staunchly materialistic?
Well, resistance is something that you absorb while you are here growing up, and it is often that you absorb whatever is in your immediate surroundings. So, if you come into a family that is very resistant to that, you are more likely going to agree with that. But what is coming into Rachel's mind is Oprah, right? So she was born as a very poor African American woman, and she found within her truth and her path. And everyone, regardless of their facial color or hair color or origin or anything, has the same connection to their truth and their path of least resistance. And so yes, it is much harder for some because of their surroundings and because of what is being taught in that circle or what they have been born into. But it is still a personal choice, and it is still that everyone has the same connection and the same opportunity, even though some have more resistance than others to overcome.
I'm just thinking of someone who thinks that I'm foolish because I'm this white guy believing in all this crazy stuff. And he feels like an obligation not to believe in anything crazy, you know what I mean? And it's just, I'm trying to perceive the pre-life choice there for that person, but
Well,
maybe
if you think
unknown.
about it, when we spoke about religion earlier, there is much of this in religion, much of this attraction as within, so without, love your neighbor, love yourself. There's a lot of this truth in religion, and a lot of impoverished populations and populations that struggle more than white people, perhaps, have access to that. And so seeing a group of people as disadvantaged does not help them. Seeing them
No,
as
I'm
equal
not trying to. I'm
helps
not trying to
them.
do that at all. I'm saying like others identify with their disadvantaged position, and they think like you white people with your crazy spirituality, and you're ignoring the problems of the, whatever, whichever oppressed race you want to be in this analogy. Um, and I'm not saying that they're any farther away from accessing it. I'm just wondering why they chose the lack of it, why they chose the resistance, if it is indeed an assister, and I see it as an assister to believe that your mind makes your reality rather than you're at the mercy of somebody, your employer or your landlord or something like that.
Well, why does anyone choose anything? Because they can. Because they can
Yeah,
choose. So it is very much none of your business, we say lovingly, why someone else chooses anything, right? Because you have the choice to do what you wish. And doing that is the greatest example that you can be to anyone that you think needs a little help or push, right?
sure. I don't know if you understand my question though, because I'm I'm not saying that I'm right and the other person's wrong. I'm just trying to understand the distinction in perception. I guess I should say this person seems like a perfectly worthy individual and has chosen to discount anything metaphysical. And
I
I,
can
See, but
comment on that.
that is a wonderful thing.
what did you say, Matthew? Maybe Matthew is helping me here.
Yeah, I can comment on that. I mean, for one thing, to go back to the sort of difference between, say, a white man and a black
Just
man, I
because
have to
of
say
the
that most of
perceived
the
cultural obligation is what I'm talking
Well,
I
I
think
just
all
want to say really
my
quickly that
ancestors were by, sorry, go
most
on.
of the black men that I know are actually more spiritual. That's one side. But another thing is, if you hear a black man, if you ask a black man, "How are you doing?" and he says, "I'm living the dream," and then you ask a white man, "How are you doing?" and he says, "I'm living the dream," they mean two different things. The black man's happy when
Yeah,
he
I'm
says it.
totally not.
I'm living the
Anyway.
dream, and the white man's going, oh, living the dream. So we there's definitely two different perspectives there. But when it comes to rejecting the metaphysical, there's a lot to be learned out of using critical thinking. There's an amazing
Sure.
amount to be learned, and you can get a much clearer focus. I mean, if you spent a life before where you kind of believed everything out of hand, uh, you can easily become prey, for one. Um, and I'm not saying to fear that, but just to have knowledge of it, to have this knowledge that there are beings out there that they will take advantage of someone who just believes everything out of hand. So to question things that are put in front of you is a really good skill to have. So to come into a life where you
I have
decide,
no problems with critical thinking at all, Matthew.
but you have to start somewhere. So if you started believing everything, sometimes you need to come back and be on the other end of the spectrum to work your way back.
Yeah, well, that's not what I'm talking about, though, at all. But
we don't know what you're
I
talking
agree.
about.
Huh?
I said that we don't know what you're talking about. Try again.
Okay. Well, let's move on. Let's move on. Devin, do you have anything new for us?
I guess something that I'm thinking about is you said that these energies, personalities that are out in the universe. Hey, oh, hey, sorry. Oh, my kids are here. That they're. Sorry.
We love it. We love their energy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
You said that these energies are not bored, but they're coming here for kind of, you said, a thrill, but it's not driven by boredom, but like you said earlier, it's an intention. Do they come, or do you come with a particular? Is there one intention, and is it more on behalf of Rachel, or is it more on behalf of the entity, or is it just a mixture there?
So, like we said, yes, we only have, I would like this, I would like that, I would like to go. We are always content and feeling a baseline of love and joy. So when we want to do something else, we go there. And I'm sure you've had that experience where you are on a vacation doing something that you chose to do and you are enjoying yourself. And then you think, oh, right now would be a great time for dinner. Or right now would be a great time for a walk. So that is our existence.
So it's sort of
And
a wandering based in sort of joy and pleasure.
yes, it's very nice.
Pleiadian point of view or way of being, or is that other entities might have that same perspective, or do they come with other intentions?
It is a fascinating thing because just as your different cultures, like different continents, different religions, you have personalities based on many things, right? Where you live, what you believe. So aliens, as you call us, we have that as well. Where we live, what density we are, what part of a culture we are in. We have different personalities. Pleiadians are very much pleasure oriented, joy oriented. Fairies are much more mischievous, and they get a lot of excitement out of being extremely powerful and showing off in a way that is all positive. Angels are powerful and emote just the most dense feeling of unconditional love you have ever felt. And so everyone has their own little point of view depending on their circumstances, just like those of you on your planet.
So there's sort of culture,
Yes, yes.
culture, but that exists among non-physical beings as well.
So if you think about it this way, the rules of a place or a being that, that a being needs to keep in mind has to do with the density, what dimension they are in. You have to deal with gravity, you deal with a sense of linear time. Those are all the rules of your density. But within that, you have different cultures and personalities and ways of being. And so that is the same for all the star beings that you can encounter. They are in a different dimension, they will have different rules, but they can have their own personalities as well.
All right, thank you. Interesting.
Yes.
I like your set very much.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Yes, we do too. We do too.
I have a couple of other weird history questions.
Okay.
Indigenous elders have legends of star people living inside the earth. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, yes. We are not one of those, but Rachel is familiar.
Huh? Can you tell me anything about what those people are doing? Who they are? Anything about them?
Well, there are different groups of them. Rachel is most familiar with those in the American Southwest because she encountered them while she lived there.
Really?
And so all the beings who have come to our planet en masse that have been recorded, as far as we know, Rachel's not a historian, have been there mostly to help you, have helped you get out of pickles, helped you construct things, help give you new points of view or new technology. So of the many beings that have helped you throughout your history, it is mostly recorded in a positive manner because you have summoned them by your intention to solve a problem and they have shown up as a solution.
Are they still underground or have they returned?
Well, this is something that Rachel is still wondering about. People contact her all the time telling her their stories of beings living in mountains and under oceans and in oceans, and she does not have any physical experience with that, so she would be reticent to tell you anything. But here is what I view on your planet. All time exists as one. All thought forms, every thought you have ever thought, any thought anyone has ever thought, exists in what we would call the fourth dimension, the lower astral plane you might have also heard about. Things that people think in a group becomes a bigger kind of thought form. It can take on form as you would know it. It can look like a ghost. Like there are so many things existing in your world that most of you do not see and interact with consciously. And when Rachel looks at the planet through her eyes with her, let's say, psychic senses on, it is saturated with beings, saturated. There are layers and layers and layers of beings upon beings upon beings on your world that are in different densities, but right here with you. And so we are not going to say that there are not full-blown societies of aliens living in and on your planet.
But there are, I'd like to believe there are. Well, gosh, I keep running out of questions. What can you tell us about the crop circles, if anything? And I feel like I know what you're going to say, but I'd like to hear it.
Well, some of them are a form of communication, and some of them have been created by people. So it is probably what you thought.
Well, no, I was hoping for something better. really, but I feel foolish because I've written all these pages out of questions, and I just like looking at you and hearing you speak so far, I realize that a lot of these, none of them are really relevant anymore.
Well, being in the moment is a wonderful
Much
experience.
better, isn't it? Yes. Thank
I
you.
hate to interrupt. I'm getting pulled away at the moment, but I'm really enjoying
Looks
this,
like
and
Devin's got to go too.
yeah, I
All
certainly
right, thank you, Matthew. I apologize for snapping at you. Skepticism is a worthy art, and it has its place. And I was nervous, and I snapped at you, and I'm an asshole, and I take it back. And I'm sorry.
You know,
for joining us.
your barb did not fly at me that way. I did not perceive it that way at all.
Excellent.
So
I'm glad.
so no worries. And I had actually many more questions, and I'm hoping I'll have an opportunity in the future to continue the conversation. It was very enjoyable.
Rachel, would you like to tell Matthew about Ask an Alien?
Oh, yes. Well, first we would say that it was such a wonderful thing to meet all of you here, and we would be happy to do it again if you have more questions. So just set it up through Zack, and we will all meet again if you would like. We would love that. That would be amazing to us. We also do have a podcast show if you would like to be on. Rachel can send you a link to sign up.
What is it called?
It is called Ask an Alien, and it is just a 15 or 20-minute conversation of anything that you like, and we record it.
So I found that website, so I wasn't sure. So.
Oh, that is Rachel's old website.
Old website, okay.
She has kept it up, but it is embarrassing to her, so she is cringing on the inside.
Don't look me up. I cringe all day long, so it's fine.
Matthew, really good to meet you. I hope we can catch up again sometime. I'm really interested in the counseling, paranormal, borderline kind of thing. I'd love to talk to you more about that sometime.
Same here, Devin. It was great meeting you and all of you, and hope to speak again soon. We'll see you later.
Good evening.
Hail and well met. You leaving, Devin?
Well, I got a moment.
All right.
One of my kids came and handed me a question that they'd like me to ask. I think it's, if you see that, it's ask if cats descend from aliens. So if you have anything to say about that.
You all descend from aliens. You all descend from aliens. In a way, in a cheeky way, because you are source beings first. But yes, there are actual star systems of humanoids that resemble cats, felines. And so there is a lot of energy that your pets take from there. More so your pets than the actual felines on your planet that are wild, because there is a lot of energy going on in your creatures on the planet. But yes, you can say yes.
I will. I'd love to learn more about that. I know they'll have more questions.
That is great. We love children.
Oh, very good. Well, you'll have to meet them sometime. We'll invite them on the next podcast if we do it again.
Very nice.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, it's always excellent speaking with you. I feel like we should talk about more spiritual matters, and I need to prepare some questions or do some thinking before I get back to you. But Rachel invited me to come back on Ask an Alien. I'd love to, and I'll come up with some worthy questions before I book it.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to conversations with all who wish to. So thank you. Thank you for having us here.
Very nice to meet all of you. And yeah, I'd love to talk again in some other context or this context again.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you. Well, I guess I'm going to click out too, but thank you for inviting me, Zack.
All right. Thanks for coming, Devin.
Yeah. Looking forward to, we'll catch up. We'll debrief.
All right, definitely.
And again, very nice to meet you. Have a good evening.
Nice evening.
Yes, you too. Goodbye.